Welcome back, guys, to another breakdown. This one was, I think, great. I'll probably give it an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. I loved it a lot. We start off, of course, with the Yamato cover story. Here we actually see Kiku, who is now the daimyo of Ringo, as well as one of the previous daimyo, I'm pretty sure, who was in the raid. We start off with us seeing little Harold and little Dory and Broggy when they were kids. And we learn that because of the history and because of the ancient giants, because of Harold being much bigger, right? He kind of grew arrogant because of that. But we see him on his journey and he meets a woman who is seemed to be captured in a cage by the people of Bunt in the New World. And this giant, her name is Ida, and Harold sees this and immediately tries to get her out of there, and he does. He blows the whole place up. He destroys everything. They have a little conversation, and Ida kind of smacks him and tells him that they were basically giving him food and letting her have a place to stay, even though, of course, it looked like she was on display. I love the little face that Harold makes after he gets slapped by Ida. It's just very funny. But once Ida has smacked some sense into him, she says that don't think you're better than humans, you arrogant disgrace. Kind of signaling that a lot of the giants are seen as this, and that's something Ida doesn't want. She doesn't associate with the giants from Elbaf, which obviously then means she's not. And we actually later learn that she's from the South Blue and actually traveled into the New World. They start rebuilding. We get a little montage, Ida helping the villagers as well as the other pirates and Harold. And we slowly see Harold changing into a better man compared to the end of the last chapter, right? And this happens pretty quickly. As you will notice throughout the chapter, Oda does skim through Harold's life pretty quickly. A lot of years go by pretty fast. But at this current time, we're now 105 years ago. Before all this, also, Ida says that, look at it like this, Harold. The destruction of anything in this world is a waste. That is a very interesting quote. I think it's probably going to be very important. Harold has a little speech in front of his people, because he's now the king. And he says that they're going to have to trade, learn from others' cultures, their neighbors. A lot of the giants kind of joke about this. They don't maybe take it that seriously. And they start talking about Dory and Broggy, and as we see at the beginning, they actually also have a history. But Harold does say that they've never failed to treat humans fairly and honorably. We get some quick scenes of Harold trading with other neighbors, other neighboring countries, and other neighboring lands, islands. And they start talking about spices, and I'm pretty sure this is kind of a little remark as to how our history of getting spices, especially like in the Middle East. Now we span over 81 years ago, so as I said, time moves pretty quickly during this. And by this point, Harudin has actually been born. And as we learn, Ida is the mother. But right after, I assume the village elders, you can see some kind of shadows by the old heads. They make her leave. But I'm pretty sure they let her stay in one of the villages. So is she alive today? She might be Mosa. She might be the one Loki's talking to. Especially because of what happens at the end of the chapter. We then see Loki's mother, Estrid, who is from the alcohol village. And apparently someone from a pretty prominent background. And she is set to marry Harold. She also has the blood of the ancient giants. So they then think she can, she's fit to be queen. She acts very happy and very happy-go-lucky, and she says, I'm fated to love you for the rest of my life. Forget about the Eastern woman and her bastard. She quickly takes charge and she changes a lot of things. She makes them get food on silver platters. She changes the mirror. It's apparently positioned in a lethal 5-star configuration. Whatever that means. Maybe that's just TCB scans. Maybe I have to wait for the officials. We also see the horse, and obviously we know the horse dies. I think it dies a year after Loki's born. But it does have 8 legs. I do wonder what that is. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's something to do with like the demonic powers happening right now in Elbaf currently. What do you guys think? Harold continues to travel around the world, and I'm pretty sure he travels to Wano. It does look like the Wano Mountains and the water. And they also mention Neptune, but this is apparently 70-ish years ago, which means he's 70 years ago, years old. That would be pretty old, you know? But 63 years ago, Loki's mother is sick, and she births Loki, who looks like this. So this is the reason why he has his bandage over his eyes. This is also the reason that he gets thrown off. Astrid is just a terrible mother. She throws him off. After Loki's thrown off, apparently the guards and everyone there can hear him. And Astrid asks what it is from the realm of the dead. And then you see this, which is Loki climbing up the Adam tree, Jewel Tree Adam, to get back up. Loki climbing up the tree also reminded me a lot of Luffy climbing up the Drum Island peaks, if you remember that. Another parallel between both of them. Estrid, the queen, then dies pretty soon after. We get a little cute moment here between Harudin and Ida, Harudin's mom. And she mentions how, oh, he should go and talk to Loki. And Harudin says no, because he's not your kid, right? So this, I think, maybe might hint at Mosa being Ida. I don't know. I feel like it kind of makes sense here. Her also then becoming basically both of the mothers at the end of the arc would be kind of cool. Yeah, that would be really nice for both of them, I think. Oda also did this at the end of Wano, if you remember, with Sukiyaki, who did end up being the grandfather of Hiyori and Momo, right? So he was someone they still had left. But everything that has happened up until now, they all chalk up to it being the Loki's curse, which we heard about previously in an earlier chapter in Elbaf. As I said in the beginning, I thought this chapter was very good. I'll probably give it an 8.5 or 9 out of 10. It gives great characterization for Harold, even Loki, with the little bits and pieces that we get when he falls off. Added in a little bit, obviously the both the mothers, a lot of stuff there. The culture and them trading, starting to trade. Even Dory and Bragi a little bit. What did you guys think? Did you like the chapter? Did you not? Why not? Write it in the comments below. And as always, have a great day. Have an awesome day. And goodbye.